años. El profesor DEY es el codirector fundador de Aston, India. Fundación for Applied Research, profesor de gestión de operaciones en Aston Business School. Ha realizado varios proyectos de investigación que abarcan tanto pymes como a grandes sectores. Tiene experiencia en gestión de la cadena de suministro, sostenibilidad y gestión de proyectos. En su charla sobre empleabilidad y colaboración con la industria, compartirá su experiencia sobre proyectos que apoyan en las pymes en países en desarrollo como India, Bangladesh y Tailandia. Su conocimiento proporcionará a los asistentes las mejores prácticas para la colaboración de la industria y el valor de las pymes para el desarrollo local. Démosle un aplauso.
Si alguien requiere traducción y falta de su aparato de traducción,
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, I can't speak in Spanish, so you have to accept me speaking in English, but my colleagues will be helping you. I'm really overwhelmed for your hospitality, for your warmth. It's cold outside, but you have warmth inside. I will be talking on how small and medium-sized enterprises contribute to regional development, sharing our experience, Ms. Aston's experience to make small and medium-sized enterprise transform to become sustainable. We would also walk across the world in many emerging economies. We'll share that as well. And on top of that, I will try to share my experience in working with the industry and try to answer the question how academics could contribute to developing society in general, small and medium-sized enterprises in specific. My talk would be around 1 hour, 45 minutes to 1 hour. I would make this presentation available to you, so you don't need to really copy it. Feel free, there will be some 15-20 minutes question-answer session. Feel free to ask me questions during the presentation also. So consider these as a bit of interactive way. My colleague, Dr. Pavel Alvarez and Dr. Oscar, both of them have worked in this project, so I don't take the credit of doing everything here. So it's my privilege that I am presenting on behalf of this team. Small and medium-sized enterprise in Spanish is PYMES. Pequeña Mediana Empresa. Sorry, actually, but I promise that while I come back within a year or so, I'll be talking a bit of Spanish. Okay? I do apologize for that. We didn't do any research within small and medium-sized enterprise in Mexico. I picked up this information from the internet. So this is 2014 figure. There are 5.6 million SMEs in Mexico, contributing 52% to the GDP. And 99.8% of the business is done by SMEs here. Only 0.2% by the large organization in number. 72% of the employment. If you have known about small and medium-sized enterprises, there are 3 categories: micro, small, and medium. majority of the Mexican small and medium-sized enterprises are micro. That means employing 1 to 10 people. Close to 95%. And most of the SMEs are placed in this region, the central part of Mexico. So there are loads of growth potential. But there are huge challenges as well, in terms of financing, in terms of technology, in terms of political intervention, many. You might be knowing better than me. We have not done yet any research, but we are interested to do further research to make the small and medium-sized enterprise more sustainable. What I would share that what we have done across the world, including Britain, we worked in Britain as well as in France to improve the sustainability of small and medium-sized enterprises, including India, Bangladesh, Thailand, Vietnam. So I will try to really share in this span of 45 minutes what we have done, and try to really get from you how much you have worked with the small and medium-sized enterprises. We have interacted with colleagues of University of Celaya, and we could get that there are quite a bit of contribution from your side. So we would like to really know that how are you doing it? Is there any takeaway that we could really get from you and implement there? And what you could take away from us and implement here? Before going into this, let me give you, I don't know actually, that's again my apology of not knowing Spanish. I don't know what the person who has presented me talk about. So I like to really get a brief background of my work so that you can make sense that where I'm coming from. My expertise is in project management and supply chain management. So many of you might be knowing that what is project management. One sentence, conversion of concept to reality. And supply chain management is the movement of material, information and finance from supplier to the customers in different entities. So what we believe that project and supply chain management can solve every business issue in too much. I apply these project and supply chain management theories in different industries. As for example, healthcare, this is the picture of Birmingham Children's Hospital. We do contribute to many issues and challenges of Birmingham Children's Hospital. And I worked in Malta, as well as Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, India, including National Health Services, to look into various issues and challenges of healthcare. This is the picture of oil refinery where I worked before joining in the academia, and we contribute in designing their facilities, operating their facilities safely and in a sustainable way. This is manufacturing, mainly in the small and medium-sized enterprises. This is an interesting area I have started working very recently, renewable sources of energy, mainly in the biomass to energy conversion. You might be aware that all major cities have a problem of handling their municipal solid waste. And municipal solid waste could be converted to energy, and if you can convert the energy, you get the double effort. In one way, it gives you energy and it reduces the waste. Okay. So what we do on that, we develop technology and business solution. We develop decision support tools so as to design the supply chain from the waste categorization, waste collection, waste movement, and converting it to the value-added product. We develop the economic model so that enterprise as well as entrepreneur can come out with their ideas. And they can see before they invest that what is the benefit of it. Let's move into our topic, small and medium-sized enterprises. Small and medium-sized enterprises as a whole contributes to every country's economy. If you look into these statistics, subsequently I would be coming out with, what we are trying to really do here, that how to make small and medium-sized enterprises sustainable. By sustainability, we mean the triple bottom line: economic, environmental, and the social aspect. And we like to really find out where is the correct trade-off. Okay, so we cannot really say that small and medium-sized enterprises will be very much environment friendly and social friendly, investing 10 or 20% of their outcome to the corporate social responsibility. We need to really have balance. There should be contribution from the policymaker side as well. So what government, local government is contributing to make these small and medium-sized enterprises contribute? So that is also very, very important part. So we will be looking into that how could we really support, looking the problem from the policymaker side as well as from small and medium-sized enterprises side also. Okay, so let's look into these statistics. You can see that 90% of the business across the world happens to small and medium-sized enterprises, and 50 to 60%, what employment is coming from these small and medium-sized enterprises. An example of UK's statistics: 5.6 million SMEs in the UK, employing 15.8 million people, which is 1/4 of the population. UK has around 62 million people, so it contributes around 30% to the GDP. Emerging economy. We did this study with the British Council funding on comparing India and the UK SMEs. So that's why I have picked up the Indian data here. India has around 48 million SMEs, 1.2 billion people, and employ 40% of the Indian workforce. So you can say around 800 million people work in SMEs. Okay, so and 13 million countries, 13 million SMEs account for 40% of the Indian total exports. Huge contribution, but there are huge issues and challenges if you look into small and medium-sized enterprises, business sustainability. Okay, why is it so? There are numerous small and medium-sized enterprises in any country, and they are very, very competitive. So there are very intense competition. So they try to really emphasize on the economic bit of it, not that much environmental or social. So we can't blame them because they have to really survive. If you look into the UK statistics, in the UK every year 2,000 SMEs get closed because of economic reason, definitely. And there are 3,000 startups, but we need to really increase that gap by reducing that, by enhancing the sustainability of small and medium-sized enterprises. Informally also, these small and medium-sized enterprises are not much contribute to the environment negatively, individually. But if you look into collective contribution, collective negative contribution, they are also huge. So see these statistics. Okay, 8 out of 10 pollution incidents in the UK happens to be small and medium-sized enterprises. Okay, 50 to 60% of the Asia Pacific pollution issues, environmental issues are created by the small and medium-sized enterprises. Okay, there is an interesting statistics in here. Recent survey reveals that SMEs consume more than 13% of the global energy demand. And there are scope of reducing 30% of it, which is equivalent to Japan and Korea's energy consumption. So there are huge potential of reducing the energy consumption within SMEs. improving their environmental and social performance, and that will lead to overall sustainability of small and medium-sized enterprises, but also, handle our greenhouse gas emission responsibly. Okay? So we have undertaken a project to make the small and medium-sized enterprises, and looking into not only within these small and medium-sized enterprises, but also across their supply chain, at least 1 year backward and forward. So what we have done, okay, in order to get those deliverables, that means at the end, the small and medium-sized enterprise should be sustainable. Okay. We try to develop a diagnostic tool which every SMEs will be able to use it, and a policymaker within a particular region will be able to use it, and they would be able to measure their sustainable performance, and they would be able to improve or enhance their sustainability. Okay? In order to undertake that activities, that project, we wanted to know the characteristics of SME supply chain first, in terms of how they get their supply chain organized. That means where from they get the supplies, how it is being transported to the for the manufacturing, how it is being processed, and how it goes to their customers. And most of the cases, small and medium-sized enterprises would be doing business B2B, business to business, okay? May not be policing the end customers' requirements. Then we try to really develop the performance measurement model and use that performance measurement model to measure their performance and suggest the measures. Okay, let's look into how we got into the various characteristics. We look into various motivating factors. What motivates them to become environmental and social friendly? We looked into those variables with respect to size of the small and medium-sized enterprises. That means whether micro or small or medium company have different attributes. Okay, we try to really look into, does it vary with the turnover? Okay, so bigger company in terms of turnover would be having a different type of motivating factor, different type of environmental indicator or social indicator than the smaller one. We try to really look into the geographical location. Okay, comparing India and Britain. Britain is the representative of the developed country. India is emerging economy. Is there any difference between emerging economy and the developed economy? That sort of things we try to really look at. So you can look into various type of motivating factor, like whether it is form image, whether it is driven by the customers, whether they are driven by the economic benefit. Okay, so that sort of things we try to really look at. We additionally look into the environmental targets. What are the different environmental targets? What are the different social targets the companies are making? Are they varying with the geographical locations? Various methods being used. Okay, whether it is an environmental management system, whether it is ISO 14000, okay, whether it is SA 8000, which is a social sustainability parameter. Okay, these sort of things we try to really look at. And you can see we applied descriptive statistics, factor analysis, and we found, I will not really explain everything. It's my purpose of this presentation is not to really get you all the outcome of the research, but giving you a glimpse of research we have undertaken and the result we got and how it has been impacted to the companies. So we observed that the highest pressure for considering the environmental comes from the government, okay? Whereas the highest pressure for considering corporate social responsibility comes from customers. The other aspect here, Indian SMEs have more environmental targets but fewer methods for monitoring their performance. Okay? That's the things came up. And as a whole, we found that there are lots of similarity between the Indian as well as the Britain's experience. Okay, similarity like there are issues in the internal business processes within both SMEs in India and the UK, almost similar type of issues. Okay, in terms of managing their inventory, in terms of managing their focus together, in terms of business processes, okay, adopting lean approaches. So, but look into the first two lines. The UK SMEs have more uncertainties. UK SMEs have more uncertainties in the demand side. Okay, this is mainly because UK's customers for the small and medium-sized enterprises are originally equipment manufacturers, and they are not likely to really buy it only from the UK small companies. They can buy it from China, India, Taiwan, other European countries. There is no embargo, so their demand side is very, very challenging. But not in India, because Indian SMEs customers are mainly public sector, and they generally do not go outside India. So the demand side is well. But the other way around, the supply side of the Indian companies are very, very challenging, because they have to be focusing on the economic part of it. So they have a bit limited supplier they can work with, which affect the quality sometimes. So that might be a bit of major issue to them. Okay, so but the supply side in the UK side is not that much of problematic bit of it. Now look into the skill shortage. There is a major issue in both the countries about the skill shortage and employee turnover. Okay, so they require to really deal with that issue very, very clever way. Otherwise, they will lose their employees very, very quickly. So there's a very high turnover rate in employee turnover rate in both UK and India. There are data management issues. They generate various data, but they can't really manage it well. Okay. The last but not the least, there are political issues in both the SMEs in India and the UK, but they are in a different way. I'm not really going to discuss this here. That might be a bit sensitive, but they are a bit different way work in both India and India. So after knowing that, we try to understand that what are the criteria, what are the critical success factors to achieve sustainability. In order to do that, we require to map the supply chain of small and medium-sized enterprises. And mapping the entire supply chain is very important here, and it has two components. One is the forward logistics, the other one is the reverse logistics. So this is called the closed loop supply chain. So think of the any product from its roots and how it being manufactured and how it goes to the customers. And then after the use, what happens to it? Are we in a position to recycle it, reuse it? And there should be a target of zero waste in a supply chain. So this is the closed loop supply chain. So when we are talking about the sustainable supply chain, we need to target that. So in order to get that, what would be the critical success factor for sustainable supply chain? We need to map the closed loop supply chain and try to really find out how we get there. Okay? And we found out that mainly from the secondary research, that we need to pick up the practices with respect to triple bottom line, okay, environmental, social, and environmental part of it, and alongside we added another dimension called operational bit of it. It's generally operation part is being considered along with the economic part, but we try to really get it a bit separately. So our model looks like this. So in one hand we have a series of practices, economic practices, or operational practices, environmental practices, and social practices on various performance, economic performance, operational performance, environmental and social performance. We got all the sub-criteria sorted from that and considered that if we have those practices in plan, then we can get all the performance output. So we divided all those criteria into two parts, practices and performance. And looked into through primary research, asking question. I'm not really telling you all those details here. You can imagine that what would be the corresponding, various type of criteria and the boxes we will be using. So think of, we develop a, questionnaire in order to capture that various practices and performances the companies are undertaking. This will go, this questionnaire will go to the companies and they will be answering to the question, we will be processing it, and we will try to find out that within a group of company, how these things are working. And we applied a technique called data envelopment analysis, which will enable you to segregate efficient and inefficient company within a group. And we would be able to tell about the inefficient company, how they can become efficient by benchmarking with the right peers. So we did that, and we advised individual company to improve their efficiency, and the group of company that how they can improve their performance. Okay. Sounds a bit complex, but I'm very sure that if you have interest, I can explain better in the due course. Okay, but imagine that if you can segregate practice and performance within a particular system, and then try to analyze that how practices is contributing to performance, you would be able to get the efficient and inefficient companies segregated. Okay, and would be able to suggest what inefficient company must do in order to be efficient. Okay. So second part of it, that once we get all those factors identified, we can develop the relationship of all those factors. Okay. So if we understand that in the upstream, if you do that, you are going to really get effect in your performance, then you are better off for a group of companies. So we tested various hypotheses, okay, comparing the practices and performances, and we came out with the model like this. Economic practices will lead to operational practices, environmental practices, and social practices, and this will lead to various performance, operational, environmental, and social performance, and that will lead to economic performance. Okay, that has been established by studying more than 30 companies in Britain and more than 30 companies in India. So we have worked mainly in the manufacturing and the process company, and we communicated with their managers and the middle level, top management as well as the middle level management. And we interviewed them. We didn't do the survey, we did the interview. And you can well understand that interview would be more accurate than doing the survey. Explain them the underpinning and try to really tell the underpinning of the responses, and we got that model from this. You can well see that underpins that you can improve the economic performance, you can enhance the economic sustainability of any company in both the countries by enhancing operational performance, environmental performance, and social performance. Often we argue that whether environmental performance will enhance the economic performance. Okay, so a company a bit reluctant in investing in environmental and social activities will be able to really get the lesson that yes, that could really get into better economic performances, which will help the society to be better. So you can well see that both the tools that I have explained, and we have applied structured question modeling to analyze that, sophisticated factor analysis, statistical method. And we could prove for both the countries, we tested with both the countries and we came up with this model. So confidently we can say that environmental and social practices enhance the economic performance. Now, this has an implication for a group of companies, but we are not very sure that whether this will help individual companies. But we require to really help even the small companies individually. So in order to get into that, we used the outcome of this study and came up with this model. Okay, what it says that organizational commitment, eco-design, green supply chain process, and social practices will lead to the sustainable performance. That means all economic, environmental, and the social performance will enhance. And with this model, if we measure individual companies' performance, we would be able to tell that how are they doing. Okay? And if we benchmark, or individually even we can say that how and where they can work or enhance in order to enhance their overall sustainable performance. So there are various criteria we identified across those major criteria in order to measure individual companies' performance. So under organizational commitment, there are different levels of hierarchy within the company, top level, middle level, and just supervisory level. So everybody required to be committed towards sustainability in order to achieve that. So where are they in terms of their achievement? In terms of eco-design, whether the companies are designing the product, keeping in mind using optimum resources. Okay, are they using any material that are not environment friendly? Okay, whether the energy consumption is really required, that sort of things are very important in eco-design. So how far they have taken out various activities. In the green supply chain processes, green purchasing, are they really bothered about their purchasers, environment and social friendliness? Okay, how about their customers? Okay, are they looking for their customers are environment friendly or not? Okay, what are the different environmental practices within the system being used? Whether they have ISO 14000, are they working towards that? Whether they have SA 8000, okay, social friendliness, are they, in the social part of it, whether the well-being of the employees have been taken care, whether the well-being of the society being looked after, okay, whether the health and safety procedure have been looked properly, all sort of things are required to be looked at, and then you will be able to get the various type of performance, which are the very solid objective indicator. So if we analyze it, you can well see there are subjective and the objective factor. We have applied multi-criteria decision-making method, which could really address both the things in order to measure the performance. So using this model, you are likely to really get a very good understanding of the indicator, okay, and which will enable you to compare with the best performing company benchmarking. And then you are in a position to find out that what you would be enhancing or improving, okay, by learning from home, so that you can very objectively deal with that by developing a business model and can see the benefit. Okay, it becomes a quite objectively analyzing the things. So I have explained this already, and this is also quite obvious that under economic, operational, environmental, and social part, what do you try to measure? And you can well see that all these measures are quite objective, and in any company you can measure them. Okay, so this becomes easy to really say that where you are in terms of your social performance. Sorry, how I'm doing in terms of time. 30 minutes. Okay, so this was a major project that we have undertaken using the British Council money with India, and India and UK comparison, and the another money we got it by working with Neoma Business School in France, and we got the French data also. So we had comparative study between 3 countries, France, India, and UK. So this is another study we have undertaken, and we are rather currently doing it using European Regional Development funding. It's a 1.3 million funding to enhance to reduce the carbon footprint and enhance the productivity. So what is carbon footprint? We all have carbon footprint. Like our colleague, 4 of us, we travel from Britain to here. Okay, how many miles we have traveled? 9,000 kilometers. 9,000 kilometers has a carbon footprint. So our Pablo and I travel a lot across the world. So we have around 7-8 travel cross Atlantic sometimes and overseas travel, and that our carbon footprint is much higher than other colleagues who will be traveling a bit less. That means energy consumption could be connected to carbon dioxide emission. We call it CO2 emission, greenhouse gas emission. Today we need to really be concerned about the environment. We need to reduce the GHG. So that's the carbon footprint. And any human endeavor has a carbon footprint. So what we need to really do it for small and medium-sized enterprises to measure the carbon footprint. And how could you really do that? There are 3 things that if you could measure within any companies, you would be able to really get the CO2 equivalent. Okay? One is energy consumption, how much energy is being consumed, and how much waste is being produced. And the third one is the resource. Okay? How much resource you are consuming. So the whole underpinning should be that how do you reduce your carbon footprint, but in other hand, how do you enhance your productivity? Okay, these are the 2 things. So we have undertaken this project to measure the carbon footprint. The other thing is, unless you can measure it, you won't be able to really reduce it. So you need to really develop something that you could measure easily, and through this measurement, you should be able to really find out where to really improve. Okay. So we have undertaken a project with these small and medium-sized enterprises using the European Regional Development funding for reducing the carbon footprint of small and medium-sized enterprises in Britain and enhancing their productivity. Okay? By enhancing the energy efficiency and resource efficiency and reducing the waste. I think these are things we have taken. I would quickly explain that what we are doing and how we are getting there and what we could really achieve as of now. Okay, a very simplistic process. Okay, we must be able to develop a tool first in order to measure the carbon footprint, and once we get that, we need to target to reduce it. Okay, we have taken a target of reducing 7 tons per companies. Okay, like that we will be doing it 15 companies. So 7 tons, where from we got that 7 tons? 7 tons is equivalent to planting 30 trees. Okay, so that's the thing we will be doing it. And roughly, the annual household carbon footprint of the UK residents. Makes sense in the perspective? Okay, so that's the thing. Once you get that target, then you need to really find out the means of doing it, and then develop the business model. Okay, so whole underpinning is you need to enhance the productivity, reduce the carbon. And once you get the right business model, then implement those and see that, evaluate that project, whether it has done the things that you have planned for. And that's the complete cycle. And we are doing it in a span of 3 years. So the next step, in order to measure the carbon footprint, as I told you, you need to really think of the supply chain, at least 1 year backward forward. So think about your inbound logistics. So your carbon footprint would be much higher if you are importing material from China and you are selling the product to again China, okay, being produced in Britain. So you have to be careful in calculating or reducing your carbon footprint. Okay, so logistics is being considered in backward forward and the carbon footprint within the business process. Okay, by looking into resource, waste, and energy consumption. Okay, there are European, standard to calculate carbon equivalent. So it is more complex than the way I'm explaining it. So if you like to, get the carbon footprint of the productive manufacture, then you have to really calculate product-wise, resource being used, product-wise, energy being consumed, and the product-wise waste being happening. And you may not be having proper meter for that. Okay? Same thing for process, same thing for the entire organization, same thing for entire supply chain. It might be a bit complex. So this is our first job, to develop a tool to do that, product-wise, process-wise, plant-wise, company-wise, and the supply chain-wise, developing a diagnostic tool so that we can say that carbon footprint of the company is like that. So we are not quite successful in getting there, but we are at least in the process level, we are trying to get into it. And at least correctly, we are in a position to measure the energy efficiency. And we have means for reducing this as well. Okay, so it's very conceptually giving you the perspective, same looking into my model earlier, practice and performance. We picked up various companies, various practices, including the inbound and the outbound logistics. Okay, and what are the performance which are very much measurable. Okay, giving a bit of precise perspective, you can well see this business infrastructure that includes your facilities, okay, technology, various resources, material resources and human resources, as well as business processes. These are the input that you need to really have in class in order to get various operational performance, okay, in terms of your forecasting, in terms of your inventory, in terms of capacity utilization, in terms of your procurement efficiency, all sort of things, including your energy, including your other environmental performance, then the social performance, well-being, accident, people's health status, etc. Okay, depending on what you want to measure. And that will lead to your environmental performance, to carbon footprint, energy efficiencies and that, and the throughput achievement. So I try to really be requesting you to look at the throughput bit of it. So a company, say having 100 output and having energy consumption, say 100 kilowatt, but they are having 200 output, just twice of that, you can't expect that their carbon footprint will go down. It will be definitely up. Okay? But it should not be in the same range. That's the other thing. So we need to really look at the social performance, carbon footprint, and throughput together and get into the right economic performance. Okay? So giving a perspective, I would explain a case of a company on both Pavel and I worked. This company is based at West Midland. Okay, the main business is manufacturing surgical kit, and the major customers is National Health Services. The surgical kit required by the surgeon for doing one surgery. Okay, so it's a business model. If you look the problem from this company's perspective, you will see that they have 25% of the business to the European distributor, where they have a constant demand. And they can have a sort of good lead time for a month or so to manufacture that 25%. Okay? Which is not daunting. They can plan it, they can procure it, they can manufacture it, and they can distribute it. But they have major issue with their 75% of the business. Okay? From NHS, they are very local customers. They give only 48 hours of manufacturing lead time. Okay? But the not manufacturing lead times to meet the demand. So the tender will be offered and open, and only 48 hours time period will be given to deliver the material. Okay. How NHS could really do that? But if you look into the manufacturing time for this type of surgical kit is around 14 days, because sterilization time is 14 days. So you have to really allow these, and these products are very much customized. So they cannot really make it for anybody and everybody. So on anticipation of the customer's demand, they manufacture product in order to really remain a bit ahead of the competition. And you can well imagine that 50% of the product will not be sold off, and that will be remained within this warehouse. Their business is increasing. They're likely to really see a growth rate of twice, but they cannot afford to really have the warehouse twice as big as that. This will be neither environment friendly nor social friendly. Okay? So the thing is, they need to optimize the warehouse size. It could reduce the energy consumption, and while you can see that resource consumption is also high. So as I said, that 50% of the product will not be sold off. That means they generally keep it for 3-4 years there in this warehouse, and after that they will dismantle it and use that raw material. So you can well imagine how much wastage of the resources. Okay? So we worked with them. We found our solution, and we suggested, managing their inventory properly, and their supplies come from China. We tried to really get the import substitution, and we developed a good customer relationship management, and we communicated with the procurement of NHS. And NHS were not really aware of the situation. And while the situation were known to them, and they come out with the lenient procurement policy, which help not only this company to remain in the business, but also making this company more involved and social friendly. So, well, you could see that if we didn't apply the carbon footprint policy, because this project has been done through KTP or KEEN project we undertaken, and which was much before we got this carbon footprint project. But retrospectively, we looked into if we would have applied the carbon footprint, we would have gone through that. So you can well see that we picked up the resources, supply processes, internal business processes, demand management processes. Okay, so look into their raw material inventory, finished product inventory, energy consumption, warehouse optimization, which will lead to throughput achievement and the carbon footprint. Okay, so you need to really remain in the business and reduce the environment and need to economic performance. Okay. So, well, we applied those principles in our current project. This project looks like that. As I told you, European Regional Development Funded project. We are working with 50 companies, undertaking the diagnostics, measuring their carbon footprint, and developing business model to enhance their productivity and reduce their carbon footprint. We are giving funding close to £15,000, which is match funded, where they would be developing a project of not less than 30,000 in order to enhance their carbon footprint. That's a government role. You can well see that government roles. And they have taken both industry and academia together. Academics having research potential and research expertise, they are in a position to undertake innovative research, unique research to contribute to the industry. And industry take away the knowledge of the academics and applying in a real life project and enhancing their productivity. and remaining within the business. Okay, so as I told you that altogether we will be helping around 15 companies, helping to reduce their carbon footprint by 7 tons and keeping them, making them higher. So we have done that. I'm not repeating this, and we have till date we have achieved around 15 companies diagnostics. We are in a position to tell them how to reduce their carbon footprint. We have developed business model for them and handed over, and we have identified 3 companies to fund, because funding is being done through evaluation, first come first served basis. So we are evaluating these 15 companies, and we found around from that 15 companies, only 3 companies are eligible for getting funding from us. And the funding for what? What are the things they are really looking for? These are these. Okay, it could be few low-hanging fruits like changing the electrical system to LED, altering the insulation system so that they become more efficient. And but mainly we encourage the companies to change their production processes. They use the more productive or more energy efficient production processes, changing their most energy consuming equipment, machineries. And alongside we try to really make them able to measure their carbon footprint themselves, so that they can dynamically do it. Because we will be doing project with them for 3 years. After that, we are not there with them. But we like to really develop long-term relationship with them, and so that we can learn from them and we can give it back to them as well. So another project, we are working with the university in collaboration with the university in East Midland, Derby University, which is also another European Regional Development funded project, where we are trying to really look into enhancing the sustainable competitiveness. So again, we had gone through the almost similar way, looking into sustainable supply chain for sure, but added a couple of more dimensions as required by them. And this project is mainly for the logistics sector of the East Midland. East Midland is basically home of Rolls-Royce, which is in the aviation industry, Bombardier, and other train services, and the company like Toyota, car manufacturing. So we are looking into the supply chain of the transport sector. And alongside the sustainable supply chain, we looked into the leadership agility, innovation capability, as well as the excellence in quality. So with those 4 major constructs, we try to really look into how we could enhance the competitiveness of these small and medium-sized enterprises. And till date, we have helped around 6 companies to identify their issues and challenges, and what they could really do in order to improve their performance. We developed that diagnostic tool. We sit for 2 or 3 hours with the company directors, company managers, brainstorm with them, and then using this diagnostic tool, we find out what are their competitiveness state, and try to suggest how could they improve their performance. And then as a test, we wanted to really know that how good is our diagnostic tool, are you getting the benefit and all, and we found that they are quite satisfied. And many of them have started implementing our suggestion. In this project, there is no money for helping the companies, but our suggestion was really value added, and they have started applying our suggestion and got the benefit. Like that, we are likely to help around 100 companies in that region. So you could well see that companies can take away the benefit that academics are coming out from their research interest, from their research expertise. Okay, so I would stop here, giving you a bit of summary and conclusion at what we are getting at. First of all, small and medium-sized enterprises contributes to growing every nation, whether it is emerging economy or it is developed country. Okay, they are the backbone of the economy. They should sustain. Okay, we, all citizens, need to work towards that. But these, still today, unfortunately, small and medium-sized enterprises think that economic sustainability is that. There is no harm in it. But from the policymakers' perspective, from a general public perspective, we must really make them truly sustainable by making a right trade-off of economic, environmental, and social policy. So carbon footprint measurement and making them aware of their carbon footprint will help it. Okay? So this is the first part of it. This is possible. And through benchmarking, through using various tools, by looking into technology and the business solution together could really help them. Okay? There are good companies. There are worst performing companies. So without blaming the worst performing company, we need to really expose this company to the best company. And that can really happen through policymakers' intervention. So policymakers also need to really have a tool to measure the performance of their region. And that's the tool we have suggested. You can well see that I have presented at least 3 prominent tools through which we could measure. Okay? But we need to really find out that which tool works where or for whom. That is very important part. So as an academics, we do apply so many diagnostic tools, so many methods at that. We must be able to develop a capability that which tool goes where. And we should be able to best utilize those tools so as to get the benefit. But my last message will be to the academics. Academics should be very flexible to not only doing the theoretical research, but also doing the practical research. I have given few examples of it, and this has both theoretical as well as practical implications. Okay, this helps Pavel, this morning presented that at Aston, we have to do research which could be really published in a very high-level journal, but also it should really produce some impact. So you can well see the example of that. We are quite successful in not only producing impact in the industry, but also producing high, good level papers. So many researchers, Pavel, Oscar, and I work together in this project, and both of them have equally contributed in this project. So you can well see that when we can do it, and we have loads of support that you have seen. These projects are being supported by the government. A project is being supported by the companies. Okay, unless they come forward, we could have not really achieved that. So my question to you, that you can well see some of the examples here that we have done it. Do you think that this type of approach could be adopted here? Or are you also doing the similar type of activities here? And I would be quite keen to undertake similar type of research within the small and medium-sized enterprises here. So we need your support to do it, and we like to really show, yes, it works. I have tried this tool in Thailand, in Bangladesh, in Vietnam, in India, of course, in France, and UK. We have planned to do it, submit further proposal in other European countries and other emerging economies also. And we are here to develop collaboration with you, which is your call, and definitely our call also, to come forward and work together. Thank you very much. Question, please. And if I would request, my colleague Pavel and Oscar, if they like to really share briefly about their experience on those projects or any project they are working on.
Well, difficult to add to that. But one thing I would say is that last point that PRASANTA made is about working with these companies, and many times working with SMEs, you're not going to have, they don't need you to apply the latest technique, the most advanced method. Sometimes the problems are very simple. They just don't have the time, don't have the expertise to implement, I don't know, some basic inventory management. The model he was talking about in Kimmel just made a very basic simulation model. We applied some economic order quantity methods, which are, again, very basic. And just by doing that, we demonstrated that they could save about 40% of their inventory costs. Now, when we went in there, their inventory costs were £2 million. 40% of that is a significant amount for an organization. So it's just going out there, and sometimes we are interested in trying to develop the latest papers, academics, the latest research, but many times we can do a lot for organizations that are around those, just by simply letting our expertise, even if it's not with the latest state-of-the-art thinking.
There is a lot of times something you have to do through networking with different people from different organizations. That is one of the good things that is basically part of the success of these type of initiatives in the UK. So what happens is, here we can see that academic institutions are quite independent from the industry. In there, what we try to do is to show what are the advantages, what we can do, what we can provide to them, and then establishing links to these organizations. So I'm sure Pavel already talked about the business partnership unit that we have at Aston. So, well, basically that means that if we want to implement something similar in Mexico, it's not only taking the academics from their crystal tower, it's basically involving people that has been either in both sides or in industry. So that has been part of the success. So what we do is to create a unit of people that is excellent, but from the industry point of view. So they serve as a bridge between the academics and the industry. So that way they can use their connections, their networks, they can get us close to these organizations and sometimes translate what we can do. Because, as Pavel said, we draft papers, but that is for academics. Sometimes we miss a little bit of the practical implications that are useful for organizations. So that is something that we think could work here. So recruiting people that can help us link all of the potential you have as students, what the academics have, and that to the problems that are in the industry. Because as Pavel said, sometimes what we find in industry are situations that can be solved by what we know, what we usually do. So it's a matter of finding the common ground and collaborating, finding the benefit for both parts. That is what we have been doing with these projects.
Thank you. Yes. Question, please. Any experience sharing as well? Yeah.
What similarities between India and Mexico do you think there are, providing that both the countries are like an emerging economy?
Yeah. Yes, there should be quite a bit of synergy between India and Mexico, but it's my lack of experience about Mexico, perhaps. Pavel is the right person to really answer this question, because Pavel knows Mexico and he knows India also. He has visited many times to India, and he's working in this project since long. So, can you tell about the similarity of this?
Well, there are similarities. I'll try to think of some. I think culturally we are quite similar. We look similar. But I think in general, sort of culture, it's quite similar. There is, if you contrast it, for example, with the UK or the European countries, it's probably not that much order. Still a bit chaotic, and yeah, so there are a lot of small businesses, family businesses, which have grown both in India and in the UK. I think that's a similarity that we have seen. Okay, well, my experience is biased because when I went to India, I went with a guest of Jadavpur University in Kolkata. So they do have some good links with industry, that particular university, but I'm not sure whether is that something which happens across the country, or is that just that particular instance of our contact there, Professor Ghosh?
There are differences, that I could get a bit of thinking to understand that the similarities and differences in that. As I told that out of 99.8 businesses, you have more, close to 95% micro business, which is employing only 1 to 10 employees. And there is no much sophisticated technology, I guess, used by that micro industry. In India, there are many small companies. There are micro things, but we can all see that 48 million of SMEs in India. There are many high-tech SMEs also in India, many manufacturing. So I would say, or I would guess, that India has more manufacturing, small and medium-sized companies, which have higher technical ability than the majority of the companies here. A quick search in the internet, I found that you have quite a bit of similarity with Japan, surprisingly. You have a similar number of SMEs and similar contribution to the GDPs and all. But what I couldn't really get that in terms of the type of companies. If you look into the UK SMEs, in very high-tech companies, and they do very specialized things. Their innovation in a product level and the process level is much, much higher. So it could be a very interesting study we could really take up to understand and what Mexico could learn from India's experience and India could learn from Mexican experience. I have a PhD student working with a Commonwealth Scholarship, and another problem that I have a third PhD student. She is Indian and working on the Indian small and medium-sized enterprises sustainability. Okay, so similarly, I guess if we could get a PhD student from here in Mexico working in that, could really help us. So thank you very much for giving us a problem that we could pursue in the due course to attract some PhD students from here. Yeah. So sorry for not really able to answer your question properly.
¿Alguna otra pregunta?
No, I was just, because you talked about the fact that we have our business partnerships unit, and yet you've done this research in lots of other countries. And so our business partnerships unit is really helpful for you finding SMEs to work with, right? So how does it work in other countries? What approaches do you use in other countries?
Very good question.
Well, I mean, from my experience, it's through partnerships with institutions in that country. So if we had a partnership, for example, here with the University of Celaya, we will try to maximize the use of the contacts that you have here. I mean, that will happen in Thailand, for example, that will happen in India, it will happen in Kenya. We have a project on waste treatment in Kenya, and our partner university there has contacts. I had a project on sort of unrelated on mass evacuation. So what happens when you have big disasters? And again, what we did was we partnered with a university in Japan, and they got us in contact with different agencies there. So it's through contacts through mostly universities, but also sometimes directly with organizations. So for example, now this is a student of ours that is doing her PhD in India. She's there at the moment. She went to the Chamber of Commerce in Kolkata to get two organizations and understand their sustainability. So it's just trying to find ways of getting in contact with those. We have also obviously an international office with the university, and sometimes contacts come through that link. And well, it's visiting basically. We were in Thailand, in Bangkok last year, the year before. And again, it was through a couple of universities there, ex-PhD students from ours, that we were in contact, for example, with one of the biggest industrial groups in the whole of Asia. So basically they own the biggest telecommunication network in Thailand. They own all the 7-Elevens in Thailand and a few bits in China. It was through those contacts, so they was trying to use those contacts.
In addition to that, there are a number of funding opportunities, mainly through British Council, institutional link, then the joint workshop, the workshop we are doing it here is being funded by the British Council, and Erasmus Plus. Okay, other than that, there are British Academy through various postdoc fellowship. There are lots of program and project we could really undertake. The thing is the way we work, that we initially develop contact through our network with the researchers, and each researcher in a particular country will have contacts in the industry. Okay, and we encourage them to develop the contacts. Okay, so we try to really match up with the calls. So a call might be specifically related to something, say as for example sustainability. Okay, say as for example it could be only energy efficiency or innovation. So we try to really customize our project proposal in accordance with the call's requirement and in line with our partners' expertise as well as their company contacts. And so every time we get a call, we got to put a bit of effort in customizing the things, and then go ahead with it. And you would be surprised to really know that success rate of those proposals are very, very low. So we need to really put enormous effort to really produce it. Like I will give you an example. By 31st January, we have at least deadline of 5 projects. Okay, and most of this thing is still in our head. So my plan is next week I will start working, which has a due date of submission on 31st. And you would surprise to really know, and most of the cases we will be able to at least successful to submit it. We have good support from our research office. Perhaps this thing we haven't mentioned in our presentation, that we have a strong research office which has an expertise of definitely not the subject area, they have expertise in the subject area, but they have expertise in writing proposal and reviewing our proposal, making comment on it, and they have contacts with these people, so that if we need any clarity, they will be able to contact the right person and get the clarity quickly. So we don't need to really wait for long. So it happens very, very fast. So we have institutional, help or support mechanism in place that is required, and it doesn't happen without this. We can only produce the technical document. Sometimes, year funding that which is close to sometimes 2 to 5 millions. And this required a stringent procedure. We recruit people from the industry who has expertise in writing those proposals. So there is a strong institutional support. Without that, it's very, very difficult to really deliver a project of that scale.
¿Alguna otra pregunta? ¿No? Entonces, ¿ya concluimos con esto?
Muchas gracias.
Gracias.